Hip Hop Zone Radio. This is your man, Bless the Party Sparker. What's up?
It's your boy Jay the Pro. What's good?
You know what it is, y'all? We right here talking about wealth. Wealth Wednesday, generational wealth, the history, and cultural differences, man. You know what I'm saying? Cultural issues. You know what I mean? That prevent generational wealth. May or may not prevent generational wealth, depending on how you look at it. I say it does. But not everybody may, everybody may not understand that. You know what I mean? So we understand that there's a lot of things put in place to prevent us from reaching a certain point. You know what I mean? And it's obvious. Everybody don't see that. But that's on us. You know what I'm saying? That's on us as Black people. As far as where we are now, I was talking about history and everything else and knowing your history and, trying to use that to build generational wealth. What can we use now to make sure that those coming after us have something? Because, we have to start our history from somewhere.
Information is key. Number one, information is key. Knowledge is power. So the further back you can go and establish who you are on this land, you can establish who you are on this land. You can establish something because they have to give it to you. Your birthright is your birthright. And so many times we want to paint the broad brush. When Roots first came out in the 70s, everybody was related to Kunta Kinte.
Man, I watched Roots last night.
But the funny thing is, everybody made that their story instead of going and finding their own story. You know what I mean? Every story is different. You might be able to connect with the Nigerian embassy just knowing that you go back 4 or 5 generations, or Ghana or something like that, and be able to get money to start a business over here. You know what I mean? You don't know if you're not able to even go far back as your dad. You know what I mean?
Uh-oh.
Mm-hmm. Dog ain't playing.
Do this every time I get on the show, he want to bark.
Yeah, you gonna hear me. You should have walked.
No, that's real. And that's a big thing, you know what I mean? Because there's a lot of things that are in place that we are ignorant of, we don't know about, you know what I mean? And that's just simply from not doing the research, you know what I mean? And like we were talking to Di earlier, Di was talking about his family tree and knowing, where he comes from, that's what it is. It's doing the research, knowing your culture, knowing your history, because just the information, like Jay said, the information is power. That's, that's a resource in itself. So
I think
somebody else got something to say?
I think it's Black
everybody came off mute. Like 3 people came off mute at the same time. So, we got Dice, we got Lotus, we got Di. Lotus, let me say you came from the bathroom. Go ahead, speak.
Why do you have to tell them that?
I had
You didn't have to say nothing.
I had
just gave it away now. We know exactly what you're doing.
She came back from pissing. I'm sorry.
Why did you tell everybody? They didn't know until you said something.
But go ahead, yo. We can edit that out. Don't worry about it. Ain't nobody hear that. We only in 103.
Hey, at least you didn't have the camera on like Bro Pete did.
Oh, God.
Shout out to Bro Pete, man.
Bro Pete was wilding that day. Bro.
Hey, we did start the show. We were talking about, family, how important it is in networking. Let's be honest. Your family should be a network. You know what I mean?
True.
And sometimes it might not be your immediate family. If you're able to find information out about your generations and how far you go back, you can connect to people that might have money and just be willing to help you out just because you are a part of their family.
I think your family should be your first network, but not your own network. And like you have to deal with people that's on the same topic, same mindset as yours. You know what I'm saying? And as far as Black people, we need to understand our history does not begin at slavery. You know, if history is a Thanksgiving dinner, slavery isn't even just, slavery is the corner of the mashed potatoes. You know, it's a small subset of what African people have done throughout history. You know, and I hate that our people like to start there. That's just a small blip in our timeline. And
but I mean, if you think about it, it's like it's, you know, it's so it's spread out so far. You know what I mean? Because like I have one of the biggest families like you'll ever see. You know what I mean?
He an immigrant too. He don't like to say that.
Yeah,
But he an immigrant.
you know what I mean?
That nigga came, he
I
came over
really
here
ain't an
barefoot,
immigrant.
guys.
I was born in Jersey, but still,
He came over here
you know what I'm saying?
barefoot.
You know what I mean? But
you fresh off the banana boat, Bless?
dirty Jersey, but still, yeah, same thing. But I'm saying like this though, you know what I mean? Just having that history, having that network, that family, you know what I mean? You can go to somebody, you can say, hey, you know what I mean? Because like you said, yes, you know what I'm saying? My family, we are immigrants, but we live that same way that she was talking about. We had family. At some point, somebody in my family lived with us, and we lived with somebody in our family at some point. You know what I mean? So that was just kind of the rule when cats came to the States. You know what I'm saying? And Furious could tell you better, but I'm just saying, like, you know, you have to. There's certain things that I feel we need to push past. You know what I'm saying? And do in order to really take what we are owed.
I'll tell you, the first thing you got to do is break the mental chains of materialism.
Exactly. And that's one of the
I
main
applaud
things
you.
right there.
That's the first thing you got to do. You know what I mean? And once you're able to do that, then you got to really look at yourself in the mirror and say, you know, because let's be clear. There's people that do know their history, and it's a effed up history. So just knowing your history don't, you know what I'm saying, don't do anything. You got to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, history starts here.
True indeed.
I disagree, because with that history, you can make a proper decision as to how do you want to move in the future versus not knowing.
But
So
without that history, you could also mentally fuck yourself and stay in a rut.
Wait, no, I don't know if you might be agreeing. I'm just saying, like, if you don't have that past history, it's kind of hard to say, okay, I want to do right. My
The
family's
history is
fucked
the
up.
foundation.
If you come up from a family of bank robbers, right? You know what I'm saying? You can say, okay, now at this point, that's what they did. I want to do something different. But if you don't know where they came from, you're destined to repeat the mistakes that they made.
I don't agree with that fully. You only repeat mistakes that you make yourself by your own volition and choice. It's your choice. It's your choice. Listen. It's your choice if you're going to choose to rob a bank or not. You can know that everybody in your past was bank robbers, but it's still your choice whether you do it or not.
But
so
I'm just saying that was the point. That was the point what Jay was making, where he was saying, where if you don't know and you sit there and go through a lot of the same things without that wisdom, saying, hey, they went through this and then turned to this. You know what I'm saying? You could say, hey, they went through this and this is the same thing I'm going through, but because they did this and I see where they went, I'm going to do something different. You know what I'm saying? They don't, you know what I'm saying? If you don't have that foundation of this is where my family came from and this is who my family is, you don't have that structure.
I just don't think you should harp on it, because whether you know it or not, right. This is what I'm saying. Whether you know it or not, you still have to look in the mirror and be like, this is what I am doing and this is how I'm moving forward. Doubt. That's the point I'm making.
No doubt. Go ahead, Jay.
I was saying one of the things that changed, you know, the rural life, the farm life, was the Industrial Revolution. How many people decided, I'm not going to work on that fucking farm ever again. Give me a job in a factory. Feel me? Because they knew that little bit of history. If they didn't know that, they would have kept doing the same thing. We should be still working on farms, bro.
History is like a slingshot. You can only go as far forward as you're willing to pull back.
There you go. Bam.
And that's
That shit
another
was
drill
real
for my
fucking
guy
deep.
sitting on 3. Hit the
I
cash
can't
app.
even. I can't even tell you if I agree with that shit or not. It was a bit too deep, bro.
Hey, okay, if you want more, hit the cash app. $ Big Dice 813.
I don't know if I agree or disagree.
I don't know. That shit.
I
It
don't,
fucked you up,
again,
didn't
I'm gonna just take offense.
it? Ha! I like it.
Yo,
that was witty. It could go in a book. I don't think I necessarily think you can live your life through it though. Because how I mean, so you saying if I took what you just said literally, that means I can only go as far as I can go back.
Yeah.
That's not true.
How
Why?
so?
Because if you're willing to make sacrifices, if you're willing to break the materialistic mindset, and you're willing to bob and weave the system and create your own lane, it don't matter what was behind you. It only matters what's in front of you.
But you can't do that standing alone.
I
In a
disagree with you,
vacuum.
Jay. I disagree with you, Jay. I disagree with you.
Understand.
Everything I
look,
have, everything
so-
I have in life, nobody helped me get. I acquired all on my own.
You acquired it, but look at how much history you know about yourself, though.
Yeah, with my history, I should be in a fucking castle then.
You are. It just ain't came to you yet.
I don't know. I'm saying like that. You know, it's and again, I'll say this. It's a different thing because just knowing your history does not guarantee you that $, that generational wealth provides.
No,
that
no.
generational
We're not
wealth
saying it
provides.
does.
brother.
We're
I'm
not
not
saying
saying
it
y'all
does.
have.
What
I'm
we're
delving
saying
deeper
is-
into the point. I'm delving
Okay.
deeper into the point.
All right.
Go ahead.
So
No,
look at
no,
it like this.
Jay, let him go. Let him go. Go ahead. Go ahead,
I'm just saying that the history alone doesn't put that $. That all other cultures, when they know their history, it got some type of monetary value to it instantly. You still have to work for that monetary value of your history when you know it as an African American. You're still gonna have to work for it. Will it make your movements? I can't even say it makes your movements easier. It just makes them more informed, yes. But whatever's behind you is behind you. History is in the past. The future don't exist. The only thing that matters is the present, and that's why it's a gift.
Brother, I totally disagree, and let me tell you why.
I do too.
Because
Hold on. I was in the middle of exchanging with him real quick. I got you. I'm gonna tag off to you, Dice. I got you. But I mean, I get it, Di, but you have to have a foundation of your past. You cannot move forward in any type of way in a vacuum because you're gonna burn yourself at both ends. Like you said, it doesn't guarantee that you're gonna get money or guarantee wealth, but it does give you a better chance at it.
It sounds like a crutch to me, bro. And I'm not trying to sound no way. It just sounds like a crutch. It sounds like another crutch that they put. Look, kind of like this. Wait. Let me make this reference. They show you the video at the job. They tell you don't buy a house, right? They take away your history and then be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you should know your history. What's the difference, bro?
The difference this is the difference right here. Because I know my history, what they're telling me about not buying a house, I'm not listening to them because I know my history. I know land was given to our family at a certain time in history. So because I know that, I know what he's telling me is bullshit versus somebody that don't know their history. They buying into that bullshit. They like, this rich person is telling me I don't need a house. So I'm gonna listen to them because I have nobody else to listen to. That's the difference. That's what we're saying. We're not using our history as a crutch. We're saying that you're doomed to make the same mistakes if you don't acknowledge the history. That's all.
Go ahead, Dice. Go ahead, Dice. Oh, now Dice gonna go off. I don't know if you've been hearing it, Rod.
So,
Rod is off. You got on late, but I'm pretty sure you got a chance to hear a bit of the conversation.
what was the question?
You're talking about knowing your history, and basically, if your history or knowing your history is important for your future, or I want to make sure I worded it right because
Not important, pivotal.
Pivotal.
Not important, pivotal, because that's the argument that we having right now, whether it's pivotal or not in your future.
I don't think the word pivotal was used before, but you know,
That's what was inferred. That's what was inferred.
Meaning, if you know your history, it helps shape how you move forward as a person.
Meaning, if you don't know your history, you can't move forward completely.
Yes, there you go.
That would make it pivotal, Bless.
I don't necessarily agree with that, because here's the thing, right? A lot of times you have to remember this. A lot of Black people that migrated from the South to the North, like Jada Pro was saying, they came in because they wanted something better for themselves. But once they got here, the opportunity to get other things such as homes, things of that nature, they didn't have a history of buying homes. They might have been in a home when they was in the South, but to buy a home, that something has to kind of be in you. History doesn't dictate who you are, because truth be told, when I get on this call, they all say I'm Mr. Political. I don't have not one political person in my whole family on both sides. I took a gamble on myself because that's what I wanted to do. Not to make it racist, but where I'm from, I ain't even supposed to even to fight the system to get on.
I ain't going front. When I first heard that you was councilman in Glen Cove, son, I was like, get the fuck out of here.
but you gotta remember the reason why
like,
I did
that's
it.
What's up, dog?
But you gotta remember, I didn't do it just for me. I honestly go to go back to the question. I did it to create history so others would come behind me because they see it could be done. You gotta remember, like, we have a history, but in certain things in society, we don't have history, or we're just in the beginning stages of creating the history. 20 years from 30, 40 years from now, if there's still an earth or of human life on earth, we don't know where the future's going. I mean, there'll probably be others, but we actually saw historic times. But a history sometimes will shape you to do other things to create your own history. So I don't always say historically, we don't know our past, we can't move in the future. But we can't, but it depends on what you're trying to do. Because generational wealth is generational wealth, right? Some people are just born into it. But to be rich, you got entertainers.
That's what we're talking about, building generational wealth.
But the entertainers and the people that have been making money for the last 20 years, 15, 20, 30 years, they won't have wealth until like 40, 50 years from now, because their kids will have the wealth. They're building a foundation for them now. Think about it. The Forbes list just came out 40 years ago. How many of them Black entertainers? They created a list because Blacks are getting some money now. Some are, not all. Some are. But like they said on the radio, they said, like Hove made 400, Diddy made 75 million, Kanye made, but they said, but think about it, that they create a list just for Black culture. That's not even the Forbes list. That's a sub list. They said, when you look at the main list, them dudes is like billionaires.
But here's the problem with that. Because when we came out of Jim Crow slavery, Black people amassed 0.5% of the total wealth in America. You know how much we've amassed in the years since then? 0.5%. We haven't moved at all, right? Yes, some of us have gotten rich. This is the reason why history is important. History is important because it galvanizes you as a people, right? It lets you know that we are in this together. Just like that's the reason why Jews bring up the Holocaust to any Jew. Now, even though it was their great grand auntie's half stepsister cousin that was in the Holocaust, they feel it deep inside. It gives them a sense of pride, a sense of unity, a sense of oneness. And it dictates how they make their moves. Because what they say over there in Jerusalem, never again. Yeah. And I want to pass this off because I got my brother, my good brother,
hey, Hezekiah.
This is my
They
battle
ain't paying the
brother.
whole government, golly.
Yes, sir. I'll put you out there, brother. Me and this brother have been going back and forth for decades, right? He one of the smartest brothers I know. I love history. This motherfucker knows history. So I'm gonna let him get into it.
What was the topic? Were you just talking about just the need for Black history, or?
We're talking about history as far as building generational wealth.
Okay.
Knowing
Well,
your
I mean,
history and how necessary is it in order to build generational wealth?
well, I think statistically speaking, Black people don't have generational wealth. I think that they said by the year 2050, Black people's wealth would be zero in this country. I think that, ever since, one of the biggest tools to building wealth was home ownership. And we see that the numbers of Black people who own homes is decreasing steadily ever since the recession of 2008, when Obama became president. And, one of the biggest transfers of wealth is through home ownership. And we had like almost $1 trillion of wealth wrapped up in home ownership. When the baby boom generation passes on, Black people are not going to get that.
Yeah.
That's going to white people. So in many cases, we have been locked out of, traditional forms of economic development,
Which
as far
is
as generational wealth. Yeah, yeah. So our the amount of wealth that we have as a people continues to go down. I mean, we're in some dire straits right now.
No doubt. And that's where we're trying to reverse the situation through network and through what we're talking about, and just trying to find out what can be done in that situation to.
I don't think anything short of a revolution really change our position in this country. Being honestly looking at the way things are, Black people trying to ascend within a racist, white supremacist capitalist system is not really going to be to our improvement as a people.
Yeah, I love it. Everybody trying to get me shut down, right? First we got Jay talking about Dice talking about same-sex marriages.
Oh,
you know
You know that's one of my triggers, brother.
Carl talking, Dice talking about Jews, then Carl talking about revolution. Good God, y'all. What the come on, man.
We gotta speak truth to power, man. We gotta speak truth to power.
I'm with you. That's why we do it how we do it. This is well.
Bless. By the way, brother, this is the brother that'll be co-hosting my show with me.
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. No doubt, man. We gonna have
found out.
Yes, sir. He's like, oh, word.
I told that nigga 2 weeks ago.
He did.
Stop playing. I told that nigga 2 weeks ago. Get out of here.
But nah, this is
like,
a
we
deep
signed
conversation.
Dipset.
This is a deep
Black,
conversation.
He was like, we signed Dipset.
Yo, that means
we was getting too serious, dog. We was getting too serious. We had fan over here getting loud with people.
You know what I mean?
Dice enacting Bro Pete and shit.
Hey man, I gotta channel my inner Bro Pete from time to time.
No, you don't.
Yes,
you be
Hey,
Dice.
I want to shout out to everybody that's really speaking their mind, and we really appreciate that, because that's what this whole forum is about. You know what I mean? And letting us know, your truth and exactly, what you feel about that. You know what I mean? So, as far as, let's get you to answer the question real quick, because I got a couple of minutes before break.
Sure.
I'm gonna call you Carl, because the Zoom joint say Carl.
Okay.
Call.
Carl.
You can't say the L. You gotta say call.
Paul.
But nah. So as far as knowing your history, you know what I mean. How important do you think that is as far as moving forward?
I think it's very important, because I think we should analyze history, but not just to have a sense of pride, but also to learn from it, and to learn from the mistakes that we made and some of the successes that we've had too. So I think when we study our history, we know our history, don't just look at it and be like, okay, we feel good about that. But then we have to study and analyze. I think it was Malcolm X said that out of all fields of study, history is best designed to reward our research. Because when you can look back and analyze that history, and don't just look, okay, yeah, we did good, but where did we go wrong? What did the Black Panthers do wrong? What did they do right? What did Dr. King do right? What did he do wrong? And when we look at that, then we can take that information and move forward in our struggle. Once we study the history from an analytic point of view, not just to feel good. Because if we just study history just to feel good, we're just gonna die feeling good. And we
Right.
have to take that history and move
And apply it.
and
No
apply it.
doubt,
Yeah,
no
and
doubt.
apply it. Right.
Hey, Di, you got the last one. Go ahead, real quick, before we go into break.
No, I like to go back and forth with the brother when we get back in the break, because my question still remains my question. And let's be clear, I never said history was not important. I just said it wasn't pivotal for you to make a decision in your own self to move forward. Because even if you knew all the history, you still have to look yourself in the mirror and be like, this is what I'm doing and going.
But you're a
forward.
product of that history, though. You're a product of that history. How can you separate yourself from who you are from that history? You can't.
Oh, so
That's the problem. That's the problem with Black America right now.
Hold up, Jay.
Fall back, Jay. Fall back.
Who I got back here, bro? Who I got?
You
see?
know we got look, see in the Stankonia pose. Yo, you know what it is, y'all. It's your man. Yo, for real, hold up. This is Wealth Wednesdays. I gotta say it. Right. This is Wealth Wednesdays. It's your man, Bless the Party Sparker.
It's your boy Jay the Pro.
Hip Hop Zone Radio, power357radio.com. We moving your music around the globe
And across the fader.
Y'all keep it locked. I'm gonna start checking my social